All right, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I manifested basically most of my goals. I didn't get to manifest all of them, sadly, but for the most part, I am pretty grateful, and I wanted to give you the biggest mistakes that I realized coming into the end of 2024, so that you can go ahead and avoid how you're doing it and absolutely turn all of your goals into reality for 2025. So the first biggest mistake is that in terms of goals manifestation is that we all have a time when we set for ourselves in like these are what it is that I want, right? And it always has to do with like number one, it has to do with like some type of income goal. Like we believe if we make X amount of money, we'd be happier. If we would make like if we got this promotion or this career transition, which is what I specialize in, we'd be happier. Some type of relationship or like trips or like maybe it's that business that we wanted to go out there and start. Like it comes down to like, do you want more? Like it comes back down to I think like the four coaching verticals, right? Health, wealth, relationships, and careers. Like we always want like to be either healthier or we want to be wealthier or we want to have more romance or a more active social life, a more abundant social life, or we want to have a better career, more money. All of these different things, we write it down. I think the biggest mistake, number one, is like not reviewing the goals enough or making it too difficult for me to access my goals. I've written it down before on Notepad. I've written it down before on like I've typed it up before. I've printed it out. I think the easiest thing to go ahead and do to always memorize to memorize your goals constantly is just very simply put on your iPhone. What I did here is I don't want to show you my goals. I don't want to give my powers away. Is that I typed it up onto like an Apple Note and I just took a screenshot of it. And the screenshot of it has to fit on my iPhone screen. And this way I know for a fact, like, because it all has to fit onto this screen, these are the most important goals. So I wash away and remove all of the bullshit. Like every letter down to, every single space, any emoji, any sign, anything I put on there is going to be pure protein, right? Cuz now it boils down to like what are the most important things? What do I actually give a shit about? If it doesn't fit on your screen, like if it doesn't resonate with you, it shouldn't be on your screen, period. So I think number one is like, what are your goals? Make it accessible for you. Make it accessible for you. And make it as frictionless as possible to review it. And just know that your goals are always going to change and it's going to evolve. Because I think the second mistake that I made was this. I made a lot of goals and I made a list of a lot of objectives, but instead of thinking about like what goals do I have, I started thinking more towards the end of the year. How do I want to feel? Okay, I want this car not because I care about this car, but how do I, and I'm not saying one of my goals was getting a Ferrari or anything, but like I think about how that car is going to make me feel. Like having a Ferrari is going to allow me to go ahead and flex on Instagram. I'll get more DM from my friends and I'll get more social validation, or whatever the case is. I'll get this promotion or I'll get into this company, and with that shiny logo on my LinkedIn, I can go out there. Like it's all about how you want to go ahead and feel. And I never really asked myself in the previous years that instead of like, what is it that I want to have? Well, how do I want to go ahead and feel? What is it that I think these goals are actually, how are these goals actually going to go ahead and make me feel? And that really started to get me think more about why are these goals important? And that also helped me cut out a lot of the bullshit. Because in order for you to obtain your goals, I know there's like the law of assumption, there is like effortless, just wait for it to come. But here's the thing about goal attainment. It's gotta actually mean something to you. A lot of people, like especially working in sales, they'll say like, I want this car, I want this, or I want that. It doesn't get them up out of bed in the morning because you want to know why. It's the wrong goal. It's the wrong goal because you thought like because you're not aligned with how those goals actually like it does not really align with your actual values. So I started thinking more about how these goals make me feel, and it also helped me cut out a lot of the bullshit. Like, I wanted to go out there and do this because of this. And it actually started to get me think about, I should actually have other types of goals. Because if what I wanted to do was this is actually more aligned with my values. And that really helped me do something called more inspired work. Which brings me to mistake number 3, is that we all talk about what is it that we want. We make a list. More often than not, we forget them, so we never review them. The more we review them, the more we actually start feeling like it's actually going to become possible. But the more you start thinking about, like, why do you actually want those goals? How do you think those goals are going to go ahead and make you feel? That's actually when you're going more in. But now we're talking about doing inspired work. Here's the thing. I'm all for, like, I have enough evidence that, like, things happened in my business, things happened in my personal life where it wasn't part of my plan. And I guess because my manifestation was so strong that it actually turned real. Like, you know, there was like an extra 30K or 50K of revenue that just came into my business, right? But the reason why you want to also have a game plan, you kind of have to go out there and do both. I decided that I was going to start doing more planning, and, like, you know, I know there's a lot of videos about the how. Don't focus on the how. Don't get stressed out about the how. That's true, but it's also not true. If you think about it, if you go to the Super Bowl, you're watching tapes of your opponents, like how are they performing in every single game, like looking for weaknesses. If you're a professional fighter, before you are watching fight tapes, you are studying your opponent, right? You want to go ahead and actually, you don't obviously want to overanalyze, but at the same time, you should actually have some kind of plan. Because the plan, you have to be bought into it. Because to obtain any goal, you have to have continuous output. You can't just be sitting around freaking doing nothing and expecting something to happen just because you're manifesting all day. Manifestation is backed up by action. You know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The more you're throwing out there, the more you're going to get back in return. And we have to make sure that you're throwing your energy at the right things. In tech, we call that KPIs, or key performance indicators. You know, like, if you wanted to go out there and get a very particular type of body, you have to go out there and do a particular type of workouts. I remember Kobe Bryant. He said, like, you know, this one season he played all of his shots all of his shots were online, but it was missing. It was short. Why? He's like, in high school, I played X number of games. Going into a professional league, he had to play more games. He didn't have the legs. So he spent the off season really building up his legs. So, you know, he fixed the shot. You have to also go ahead and think about it that way. Like, what's missing, right? There's that. I think the next biggest mistake is also, like, going back to, like, why I actually love this system of having it on the phone. There is a function on here, and it's called the photo shuffle section. And that means if it doesn't fit on the screen, you can actually have multiple images. I have one where it's up to 26 photos, and I don't think there's a limit on the photos, but I have a lot of goals. You want to have, like, some notes where you're taking a screenshot where you actually have a plan. And instead of building a plan on how you need to accomplish your goals, start thinking about all the blockers. Start thinking about, make a list of all the reasons, like, hey, you don't have enough revenue. Why? Because you don't have enough leads. You don't have enough leads because you're not running, like, good ads. How do you run good ads? Like, you want to make a list of all the blockers that's stopping you. Like, this case we're talking about, like, in one of my businesses, we're talking about growing revenue line for a particular course that I'm running, right? You want to make a list of all the limiting beliefs too. It's like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. You want to make a list of all those things. Why? What gets in the way of manifestation is the fact that you don't believe something is possible. You don't believe something is possible because there are all these blockers that are standing in the way between what you think is possible and what you think what's actually possible, and what you believe sincerely in your heart of hearts is impossible. If you actually list down all the things, it's either it's a limited belief, which is like, it's not real, you just think that something cannot be done, or it's a very legitimate blocker, in which case we have to create a solution. If you made a list of all the things that you think is stopping you, blocking you from actually obtaining your goal, if you just spend a little bit of time on each problem, it's like, well, I can't do this because, okay, go for a walk. And I promise you, motion creates emotion. If you spend like about a day, you'll realize there's a solution. But sometimes we have splurts where we feel like it's possible. We just have to do this, and then we forget it. See, again, the memory is very important in manifesting the life that we want, right? It's like a lot of times people's goals, they don't manifest. Why? Because they don't even remember what their goals are. Well, Rich, what about all those people, they write their goals, they never take a look at it, and it came true anyways? That's because they also took a lot of action. It's not like they just did the same thing they did before. They wrote down their goals, and if those goals ended up just happening somehow, no. They probably, one of those reasons why those people, yeah, that's happened to me too. One of the reasons why those goals came true anyways, because they took massive action. They took so much action that they forgot. But if you make a list of all the things that's stopping you from getting there, also, very, 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 I would say also like, that's going to help you out a lot, because if you're actually believe like, holy shit, like if we just did this, then like this problem is solved, and you want to know it's going to happen, is like, you don't believe your problems are that big anymore, because it's just like, hang on, I've been looking at this thing up, down, left, right, and sideways. For me to make this much amount of money, all we need to do is this. And I'm a reasonably smart person here. I'm not the smartest one, I'm not the dumbest one, but there's only 17 problems. So if we just solve this, and we just solve this, and we just solve this, and if I did this, this solves at least 5 of my 17 problems, you start realizing that your problems are not as big as you think that it is. There's people out there that's dealing with much bigger challenges than we are, and yet they're still going out there and accomplishing amazing things. We have to believe that it is actually possible. So like something else that I've never done before is actually make that list, and it's hard to memorize everything. So I created a system where I just make it frictionless. I just go out there and tap on my shuffle, and I remember all of my goals, and I remember the game plan to obtaining all of my goals. I think the last thing that I finally, last two mistakes that I actually had was that I want to make it more frictionless to memorize my goals, but I want to go out there and actually really have the feeling. Like we talk about the vibration, right? Law of vibration, when we talk about manifesting, is like you want to go ahead and everything that we want to manifest, we want to have visuals and we want to back it up with music. So something that I've also been working on is creating these little short videos for myself, kind of like making a TikTok for yourself, right? Making a TikTok for your own self. So like if you make a TikTok for yourself, like imagine like you having like the photos and like to go out there and back it up. So one of the hacks that I started using is when we go on social media every single day, you shouldn't be scrolling on social media. It's mindless, right? But we all do it anyways because it's like a stress reliever to go ahead and disconnect. Sometimes late at night, you don't really want to do much. It's easy for you to go on like a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. And those algorithms was built for you to just scroll. Make a list of the images that you resonate with. Make a list of the song tracks that you resonate with. And you know what? Add those photos to your goals. Add those photos to you and then just screen record them on your iPhone and then play those videos. Add a little bit of music in there, like sprinkling salt and pepper so you can really go ahead and feel it. Because like when you're looking up Instagram, like instead of saying like you're going to go to Japan, like screenshot some photos of you going to Japan, the restaurants, the hotels. Make it seem that much more real so it's easier for you to manifest versus like you're like lying in bed in the morning like, oh, manifestation, and then it's like you got to go out there and try to like imagine something. Like it's not going to go out there and work out. Like the whole tech industry, because I work in tech, is built on monetizing kind of productivity, right? Like imagine going to the gym without your iPhone and you not having music without your AirPods. If I go to the gym and I find out my AirPods are at home, I'm not even gonna bother going to the gym. You can call it whatever it is that you want. It's like, real man, like, you should go to the gym. Like, I'm not feeling it. I have a list of songs that's gonna get me through the first section of my workout. I have a list of songs that's gonna get me through the last section when I really like kind of digging deep. There's a reason why there's like Apple Calendar, Google Calendar. There is a reason why, because our brain can't stick all this information in our head. So like, make it easier for yourself. I've given you a lot of information today, but I'm telling you, like, just memorizing my game plan more, like having it here, um, uh, and just making that all that stuff just easier, adding a little bit of music, adding due dates, all that stuff's made it so much easier for me to memorize what my goals are, what the game plans are, so I believe that it's possible. And then having a date, that's actually one thing I didn't really go into that. Add dates to your goals, so like you're actually operating like it can happen quickly. Because if you don't have a date on there, it's just going to be this never-ending struggle. A lot of people give up on their goals before they even like really get traction, is because they think it's going to have to take a long time. It's going to take as long as you want it to take, because that idea can just hit you in terms of, oh shit, we just need to do this. It goes back to listing out the blockers, right? Lastly, I would say, if there's anything I want to go out there and add in as kind of a bonus, is like, how like Apple, they have like times when you can set alarm, and there's like music tracks. If you go ahead and record all those into audio tracks and upload it to your iTunes, there's just times, right? Like 6 o'clock when I wake up, it's not just it's just my manifestation playlist. I'm playing one thing after another thing after another thing, and it's just going through that playlist. So I want to make it as easy. Like, I want to remove the friction. Like, I gotta go ahead and go to my spiral notebook, and I gotta kind of utilize my imagination. No, I want to take all of that. I want to make it as easy as possible for me to feel pumped up, so I can go out there and just slaughter all of my goals and, do good for me, my team, my family, myself, So hopefully that's what, these are some of the tips that I have for and some of the mistakes that I made in manifesting. And I can't wait for a very, very, very big 2025. Hopefully that helps you start living your best life in 2025. I'm ready to get it.